Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to the 12th video for the month of Gorror, and this time I am doing something a little bit different like I've been doing with the movie commentaries and the video game playthrough I did. This time I'm going to review a video game that is horror based, and you know what? Might as well review the game I did a playthrough of a couple of days ago, Until Dawn. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, I haven't reviewed a video game in a little while, and I especially haven't reviewed a video game live like this in a very long time. I think like 3 years ago or 2 years ago maybe was the last time I reviewed a game like this. So I apologize if it's a little messy or whatever, but this is the first time I'm doing it again in a very long time. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's talk about this game because I am actually really excited because it's been a little while, but I've had some time to adjust my mind around it and think about how much I either like it or dislike it and stuff. So now I can give you an honest opinion of this really inventive and very I'm going to spoil it, very good game. There you go. I spoiled it. I already told you I liked the freaking game. Sorry. Until Dawn tells the story of 8 friends that go to a cabin in the woods. Sounds very familiar to tons and tons of horror movies in the past. They go to this cabin because they want to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the disappearance of 2 of their friends. One of the 8 friends, is actually the brother of these 2 girls that disappeared a year earlier. And they're gonna go not really to celebrate, just to have a good time and be friends again, because over the course of the year they didn't really talk or anything. They felt bad about the disappearance of these 2 girls that used to be their friends. So they go up there just to have a good time and, you know, kind of pal around and stuff. You know, because they figure that the 2 that disappeared wouldn't want to see all the friends just, you know, split apart or whatever. So they go there, and at first they have a good time. The cabin is the typical cabin. The lights are all off, windows are obviously open, so there's a breeze and stuff is moving around and stuff. It's creepy, it's dark, it's exactly what you would expect. But the cool thing about this video game and its story is that you get to play as all the characters. All 8 of them at certain points. Like, at one point you'll play the character Chris, who's kind of like the nerdy one. Go figure. Or you'll play as I don't remember her name. Hayden Panettiere, the cheerleader from Heroes, and she's kind of like the strong-willed one, but she's also funny and charming and probably the nicest one of the group. Well, maybe not. She's one of the most headstrong of the group. And you'll get to play as all these different characters with different personalities. Like, hell, right when you meet all these characters, they even tell you what their personality is. Like, it actually freeze frames and says, this character is like this, and this character is like this, and this character likes sugar in their coffee or whatever. They don't say that. But, it's really unique, and it's really a lot of fun. Now, the story, of course, in the beginning, they're friends and whatever, and of course the horror aspect starts. Like, some serial killer or whoever just shows up and starts not picking them off one by one, but kind of scaring them, and of course that means scaring you, because as this gameplay works, you have to make sure you don't have your character get killed, or if you want, you can get your character killed. I guess it doesn't matter, which I'll explain the gameplay later. But of course, some masked killer shows up out of nowhere, and there's a bunch of spooky stuff that happens. You have to walk through the cabin and the woods, and because it's, of course, the cabin is in the woods on a very isolated, like, mountain or whatever. So they go around, they walk around, scary stuff happening. It's pretty typical of a horror movie that involves a cabin and a masked killer, like a Jason or whatever. It's very, or Friday the 13th, as the movie series is called. It's very typical, but that's what works with this, because it's a video game. We don't have really that many video games like this, and it's interactive. You get to move over here. If you want the character to go through the dark cave alone, you can. If you want him to not, and obviously not get killed, then don't go in the cave. Like, there's a lot of really cool moments like that where you get to control your character, you get to move them around, you can explore if you want, or you can say, screw it, I'm just gonna go and get to point A to point B. I'm not going to explore and get killed. There's even multiple different paths you can take at certain points in the game that might get you killed or might not. There's a lot of really awesome moments like that. And the big thing about this game is that it actually makes you care about some of the characters. Some of them are annoying and you quickly want them to die, but some of them start off annoying and you're like, alright, I want them to die. But then later on they actually progress and become better characters. Like the Mike character at first was a complete dick. He was that one that was kind of like cheating on his girlfriend and wanted to pick up another girl or whatever. He was like kind of like the jock, but then later on he becomes the kind of like a Nathan Drake style hero in the game, and I thought that was really cool. And again, that's a character you could have killed off in the first half of the game, and then whatever, different things will happen. And that's what is really special about this game. The characters are actually either likable or interesting, or might be hateable, but you can kill them off, so screw them. And the tons of different things, options that happen. Like if a character dies, the story evolves and transforms into something different. Like if Mike dies, then characters will talk about Mike and feel bad about it, and some characters will have to do things that Mike would have done later on if he was actually still alive. So that's really interesting. I really, really like that, and it's probably, I'm going to say this, Until Dawn, Supermassive Games, the guys that made this, have probably done the best job of making a game like this where your choices do matter, and it's definitely the best one, and it makes it highly replayable, and so I really recommend it, mostly based around that. Now, gameplay wise, of course, I'm getting to gameplay now. This is a very just messy review, but the gameplay is very simple. It's Heavy Rain. If you've played Heavy Rain, if you haven't, let me explain it. Okay, you'll be walking around, you get to control your character and move the flashlight in the woods or whatever part of the city they are, mountain they are, in the cabin or in the forest or whatever. And you can walk around, you can move your flashlight and stuff. That's pretty much all you really can do while you're walking around. You can't really do anything else. Maybe interact with little items, like pick it up and look at it and read it or whatever. Or pick up a totem, which is like a collectible thing in the game, and if you look at it, it actually shows you what a certain thing could happen to a character later on in the game. It's a little hard to explain, but if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. It's just collectibles. That's pretty much it. But when something happens, like if something jumps out at you and is about to kill you, you press the X button when the X button shows up. Like it'll just say X on the screen. You press X. If you don't press X, then something bad could happen. Either you get hurt, you get knocked down, and then the next part is a little harder, or your character gets killed immediately. So that's the gameplay, really. You just have to press the X or the circle or square or the R1, L1 buttons. It's pretty simple. That's really the gameplay. There's times where you actually, because the PS4 controller has like motion sensitive, I forgot what it's called, but it knows that you're moving. There's times where you actually have to not move, and if you move, then the creatures or not the creatures, the bad guys are going to hear you, and then you have to run away or whatever, or if they hear you, then they could immediately kill you. So there's a lot of real big tension. If you've seen any part of my playthrough, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's parts where I'm like, they're gonna kill me, and then I move a little bit because I said that because I'm an idiot, and then I move a little bit and they can hear me, and then a character gets killed. I'm like, fuck. Liked him. I was like, damn it. And there's a lot of really good tension in there, so that's why I think the gameplay actually does work quite a bit. Is there any problems with the game? Sure. Some characters are not likable, like I said. If they're written to be like that, that's fine. But there's times where you spend a lot of time with certain characters. Like there's a character named Emily, who completely unlikable. And of course you spend a good amount of time with her. In the beginning and towards the end, you spend a lot of time with that character. And I really didn't like her at all. And there's some decent writing, but most of the time it's like really cheesy. Some of the jokes don't work. Also, I found, well, it is scary. All the jump scares and stuff work. They do. If you watch any part of that playthrough I did, most of the time the jump scares did not get me because I kind of saw them coming. But I always found it endearing that it was so obvious, because so many of these crappy horror films nowadays have such obvious jump scares. You know when they're going to come. So most of the time when a jump scare happens, I was like, and I laughed. So overall, I think Until Dawn is a great game. I highly recommend it. Right now, I think it's like $40. Maybe if you like a game that gives you tons and tons of content. I mean, like, multiplayer and all that stuff. Maybe wait until it's like 30 or 20 bucks, but 40, hell, even $60, it's not you're not getting ripped off. You're getting plenty of game here, story mode wise, because you get to go back and, see different things. If you don't like any of the characters, you don't like the mechanics, you don't like the gameplay or whatever, then you're probably not going to care for this game. But if you really like seeing, like, your choices and your screw-ups matter, then you're really going to like this game. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give Until Dawn, I'm just going to give it straight up a score from a 0 to a 10 because this is a video game, so it's going to be a little different. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of a 10. I think this is a great game. Some problems here and there, and also it's not the longest game. It only took me 7 hours to beat my first try, but still very fun. There's also a twist in this. I will say that is pretty good. It's a pretty good twist. Not the twist you're thinking of. The second twist if you played the game or saw my playthrough, which I'm sure no one watched that entire playthrough, which is fine. 7 hours. But if you want to watch my playthrough and want to see me react, go ahead. Go check it out. You know, I even put like little what do you call it, like little timestamps so you can see what chapter I start on. Like I put the little timestamps in the description. So anyway, there you go. I really enjoyed it Until Dawn. You should definitely go check it out. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.